48 days to go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the number of days until we are supposed to be leaving the European Union. With that, a number of issues have arisen. Obviously, the Scottish courts overturning a decision to prorogue Parliament that will go to Supreme Court next Tuesday. That'll be interesting. Many MPs saying that now Parliament needs to be recalled, with some turning up for PMQs yesterday when there was no PMQs. And then we have the Labour Party, who has, for the last 3 years, not had a united consensus on how to deal with Brexit. Jeremy Corbyn did himself say he respected the vote to leave, but all of his actions and claims of what he would do in office, because they are Spartan but there are some, would be to contradict himself, where he would want to campaign for a deal, but then have a general election to then campaign against his own deal, which isn't even a joke. That is something he and his party members have actually said.
You would go back to Europe, try and get a better deal, have a referendum where Remain is an option. Would you then be campaigning against your own deal to Remain?
Personally, I will campaign to Remain.
It is quite tragic. Add to that the publication of the Yellowhammer documents, which I'm going to cover tomorrow because there's a lot to go through, and Keir Starmer saying this now is proof that we need to go back to Parliament now so that we can scrutinise it and go through things and take necessary steps to prevent no deal. It just looks like more fearmongery to me, so yeah, what do I know? I'm just one of the peasantry. Tom Watson, the deputy leader of the party and moron supremo, has called for a referendum ahead of an election, with him stating that Labour should unequivocally back Remain because he believes that not only is there no such thing as a good Brexit deal, but also because he believes the 2016 Leave vote has been invalidated by time. Thankfully, Jeremy Corbyn does not agree with this, because as James Cleverly, the chairman of the party, the Conservatives that is, had said, it would take a year to sort out a general election after a referendum. But for a referendum to take place, Article 50 would have to be revoked first. Otherwise, a referendum happening first would mean that we would then leave with no deal anyway. It should be pointed out because it is the right thing to do. If all you do at a general election is campaign about Brexit, you are a remarkably one-dimensional party. It's like a comedian who only tells gender jokes because they're female, black jokes because they're black. It's just one-dimensional and boring. Some of you might be wondering why Tom Watson is the deputy leader of the Labour Party when he disagrees with Corbyn so many times. And that's because he is not chosen by Jeremy Corbyn. If he was, we'd have Diane Abbott there. We know this. Tom Watson is actually elected by party members, so he basically has a right to roam on policy other cabinet ministers can't. In a speech, which I'm going to link an article which has the video on, he agreed that a general election seemed inevitable but not desirable, and that elections should never be single-issue campaigns, which I agree with the NHS, economic inequality and crime being drowned out by Brexit messages, which is what he says. He believes that the only way to break the Brexit deadlock is for a public vote in a referendum, as a general election might fail to solve this as well. He does also believe that another referendum would be better because then we can give a more concise and clearer set of answers and choices for people to select when it comes to how they want to, or if they want to, leave the EU. In the sense of, instead of just saying leave, have leave, deal, leave, soft, leave, no deal, leave, erection, leave because you're a racist, and then Remain. I will give Tom Watson some credit because he's at least consistent on this. He's also said that Labour itself needs to make a very crystal clear position on what it believes, because after Emily Thornberry's gaffe, actually after the gaffe of many Labour members who don't hold a consistent position, one is struggling to understand what they actually want anyway. When Boris Johnson accuses them of dither and delay, he's actually starting to be right. You don't want that now, do you? Tom Watson's argumentation for doing one of the most undemocratic things and invalidating the 2016 Brexit referendum result is that there eventually comes a point when circumstances are so changed, where so much new information has emerged that we didn't have in 2016, when so many people feel differently to how they felt then, that you have to say, no, the only proper way to proceed in such circumstances is to consult the people again. What I'm smelling here is cowardice, Tom. If you see this, which I doubt, you are a coward. Much like any MP that has looked at the Yellowhammer very redacted documents, just change the tone, by the way, and you'll be able to see what's underneath it, and decided, ooh, too much. Because you're basing it on aggravation caused from the negotiations. That's what you're basing it on. You really shouldn't, because those negotiations were trash. You're a coward, Tom. I just thought I'd repeat that one last time so you could fully appreciate what I think. I'm glad that Jeremy Corbyn doesn't agree with you on this, but that's only because he's so desperate to get no deal off the table first, and then have a referendum, and then have an election, which he also will lose, by the way.